Once, except for the birds, our skies were empty. Now, they're a crowded place.
It's like chaos, but it's controlled chaos.
Every day, 6,000 planes.
My pride and joy.
There's nothing we can't transport.
And 600,000 people are in the skies above Britain. Guiding every plane is a hidden army of controllers.
So we've got no option right now but to stop arrivals into Gatwick.
Performing one of the world's greatest juggling acts.
Unlike a computer game, you can't hit pause. They come in.
A place of adventure.
Well, that was fantastic.
Wonder.
When you're up there, nothing else matters.
And danger.
Unless you know what's in front of you, the better, I think.
It gives you a sense of space and freedom and a feeling that you're part of something bigger.
Every boy's little dream.
Super 9901, reduce speed 180 knots.
Canada 3 Foxtrot, leave Hemel on a heading of 3-3.
Walker from Lambourne, it's 7974.
Sorry, one arrival information is leave but confirmed aircraft.
In a remote location in Hampshire, far away from any airport or runway, is Britain's air traffic nerve centre, NATS, where hundreds of controllers watch over our skies.
Air traffic service, report your level. 9,200 feet, so 1020, November Alpha.
Through radio links to pilots, they guide thousands of planes in and out of British airports.
10, Jersey 5 Echo Bravo.
KLM 1011, cancel the hold, left turn to Lambourne, leave Lambourne 265 degrees.
This is the absolute heart of the invisible motorway network in the skies. All traffic that's flying over England and Wales that's receiving an air traffic control service is getting it from the people in this room. And it's some of the busiest and most complex airspace in the world.
That's got 7974, descend flight level 80.
Almost all the traffic is arriving at or departing from an airport. From an air traffic controller's perspective, that actually gives them a challenge because all the stuff that's coming in is above all the stuff that wants to go out, and their job is to make that happen without getting them in the way of each other.
Shuttle 3 November, you're heading to London at 121.275.
Each controller is personally responsible for the safety of up to 15 planes at any one time. But it's not just radar they rely on to keep passengers safe.
So we're a superstitious bunch. And what this is in the middle of the room is a guardian angel, guarding the controllers and making sure we're able to look after the skies.
Each commercial plane is meticulously plotted through a tightly regulated network of highways in the sky, in an area called controlled airspace. Outside controlled airspace, pilots are free to roam. But if they stray into one of the major routes, the results could be catastrophic.
Four Golf Alpha.
On the radar, an unidentified aircraft has been spotted approaching the main Gatwick flight path.
Terminal control, watch supervisor.
Attempts to reach the pilot have been unsuccessful, so the operational supervisor must decide if it's safe to allow flights in and out of the airport.
We've stopped all arrivals and departures.
We've stopped all arrivals at the moment. I haven't stopped departures at the moment because of where he is, but they've stopped all arrivals. They can't do any approaches to 26 left at the moment. So nobody's got contact with him at the moment, and he's stayed resolutely at 2,700 or 2008.
Right. So what we've got is we've got an infringer who we've tracked on coming down that was outside controlled airspace. Unfortunately, he's crossed the extended Gatwick centre line, landing on 26. So we've got no option right now but to stop arrivals into Gatwick. So the most important thing we have to do is keep all the other aircraft away from the infringer. So at the moment, the rules are that we have to do our best to achieve 5 miles laterally or 5,000 feet vertically from an infringing unidentified aircraft.
Chance 8 Victor Hotel, climb now, flight level 130.
The disruption can be quite incredible for one infringer. But everything we do is about making sure that we keep away from the unknown target.
With the unidentified aircraft still in controlled airspace, hundreds of passengers who are about to touch down must circle overhead.
All we're doing is playing a little bit of a waiting game with this chap and waiting for him to leave controlled airspace, or we get two-way with him so we can have positive control over the aircraft.
Jets 8 Victor Hotel, climb now, flight level 130.
A little slow 16 there.
Kilo Tango, maintain heading, descend flight level 150.
He's now gone outside, has he? I'm
no,
not
it looks
aware
like
because
it.
I've been dealing with Southend
No,
for
it's
a
fine.
moment.
Hello, Nigel, it's Dave. How you doing? So the infringer's now outside controlled airspace, 2.5 to the southeast of you. So we've started arrivals again. First one's easy 48 X-ray uniform.
Air traffic controllers deal with infringers every week.
Everybody today is really focused on security, particularly after 9/11. And so making sure that we know who all the aircraft are and where they are is really important for safety.
Smurf is clear.
This infringer turned out to be an amateur pilot who'd accidentally flown over Gatwick. But when a threat to the airspace can't be resolved by gnats, there's another power guarding the skies.
For months, Russian bombers have been probing Britain's air defences. The RAF Typhoons have come very close to shadow them.
I think what this episode demonstrates is that we do have the fast jets, the pilots, the systems in place to protect the United Kingdom.
Morning.
What is that?
Everything all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Okay, see you later, thank you. So the threat to the UK at the moment is heightened. It's no surprise from the newspaper articles that there is a big threat to all of us at the moment from particularly ISIS.
RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire is the UK's busiest fighter jet operating base, home to 2 squadrons of Typhoons. One of the most powerful combat planes in the world, the Typhoon can break the speed of sound in just 30 seconds. Last year, after 26 years as a fighter pilot, Group Captain Jez Attridge was put in charge of the base.
Morning, everyone. This is another big week. So we've got 3 squadron out the door today to the Middle East. Half the aeroplanes going today, the other half tomorrow. On the back of that, we've got to prep those jets for North America. And of course, QRA, every minute of every day. So good luck, everybody. Thank you.
QRA stands for Quick Reaction Alert, the code name used when a Typhoon is launched to intercept unidentified aircraft entering British airspace. In 2015, jets were scrambled 12 times, a scenario the RAF trained for regularly.
Rushton 55, Rushton 55, London Centre on guard. If you're receiving, come up this frequency.
It's not just gnats who safeguard our skies. A watchful eye is also trained on UK airspace from a nationwide network of hidden RAF bunkers.
Rushton 55, contact London Control 132.950.
The RAF controllers have been working alongside the civil ones for years and years. When I first started off as a controller, I was in the RAF. If there's an aircraft that nobody knows about, which they have reason to believe might be a security threat to the UK, then we'll clear our aircraft out of the way.
Hello, Mark Galloway, what's supervisor? And how long's it been out of communication?
Civilian air traffic controllers at NATS have spotted an unidentified plane just off the Cornish coast and alert their RAF counterparts.
It is. Rushton 55 is a call sign. It's a Gulfstream from Heathrow. It's down west at the moment at that lap long. Heathrow, Tel Aviv.
Tracker interest, Rushton 55, no motor at the moment.
Just approaching Plymouth now, the subject aircraft.
The traffic is still out of comms.
Tim pointed out, 5107 just south of Newquay.
The aircraft which has come across the Atlantic isn't in contact with anybody, either civilian or military, and now between us we're starting to work out a plan of how we can intercept this aircraft and try and confirm what its identity may be.
Just to let you know, they're continuing to call on 1215 as we are launching, and the aircraft is continuing to be out of comms.
Repeated attempts to contact the jet have failed, so the National Air Defence Operations Centre instructs RAF Coningsby to put a Typhoon pilot on standby.
For air defence, bring Conisby Q2 to cockpit readiness.
Just minutes after receiving the call, the Typhoon is ready to launch.
We'll sit now and wait for the actual call to launch them up in the air. It's an important thing to let anybody that might want to penetrate our airspace know that we're able to defend ourselves, that we're able to be anywhere within the UK in a matter of minutes. The threat, the challenge, the pressure is clear and present, and that's why we have these airplanes ready every minute of every day.
Cosby Curie is at cockpit.
Okay, we might have had some information about a potential aggressive passenger, so you are to scramble, quick reaction alert.
Conisby Q scrambling.
Scramble, acknowledge.
Since 9/11, the potential hijack of a passenger plane is considered a serious threat. As the Typhoon launches, NAT's air traffic controllers clear everything out of its path.
We've got a subject aircraft getting airborne from Coningsby, and we'll be looking from Coningsby to get up.
And news reaches the top.
The fighters are in the air. Please could you update the Prime Minister?
30,000 feet above Bristol, the Typhoon reaches its target. A commercial plane.
Still not compliant.
Next, the pilot executes a series of warnings.
You are to conduct a show of presence manoeuvre.
There are a number of recognised signals, and the key one is they'll pull up alongside, waggle their wings, and then they'll turn towards the direction they want the airliner to go to. They might drop flares as well. So it's a lot of recognised signals to say, we're here, you need to follow us now.
That is non-compliance for the shore presence.
You are to conduct an exercise show of force.
Acknowledged and exercise show of force onto West Read, paragraph 6.
As a final warning, the pilot reveals his air-to-air missiles before issuing an order from the Prime Minister.
Rushton 55 from Charlie Yankee, Quebec 2. I'm instructed by Majesty's Government of the United Kingdom to warn you that if you do not respond immediately to my orders, you'll be shot down.
The Prime Minister can order a Typhoon pilot to shoot down a passenger plane.
The nightmare scenario for us would be that we would engage an airplane and be given that order. But our pilots, they will execute the order they're given by the Prime Minister. They might think about it on the ground afterwards, but at the time, that's what we're trained to do.
Yankee 2, this is Rushton 55. Apologies for not being able to reply to you earlier. We have had an issue with a passenger that has now been overpowered. We request a police presence on arrival.
Okay, he's compliant, Mike. Well done, thank you.
Thank you very much. See you later.
QRA simulations take place regularly. This was an exercise. Those involved would not usually know whether or not the sortie was real.
We've got a chance to have the pilot make that intercept, go up alongside an aeroplane and just practice all of the physical things that he needs to do to get the aeroplane in the right place at the right time.
The RAF's £100 million Typhoons are at the forefront of aviation technology. But many are drawn to the skies by more simple forms of flight.
Countryside below which has just been harvested, which is always good when you're looking out for somewhere to do an emergency landing.
I think one of the worst things you can do in life is not take any risks. A life without adventure, a life without danger, a life without feeling that adrenaline, that excitement would be no life at all.
44-year-old Nick English has had a passion for vintage planes since he was a child.
Jumping into an old aircraft, you never quite know what's going to happen.
I'm not very high here, sort of 2,500 feet.
speed-wise. 170, 180 miles an hour. When you look at the pilots and the explorers of yesteryear flying literally into the unknown, it's quite amazing to think that you can just jump in an aircraft to the same age, the same era, and experience some of what they did.
Nick's family have been restoring planes for generations.
So we keep the aircraft in this hangar here, and you can literally just pull them out, jump in, and zoom off.
His vintage Gypsy Moth is one of only 20 in the UK.
Same type of aeroplane that Amy Johnson flew to Australia in 1930s. So no brakes, so you just literally have this sort of tail skid here. So this is our baby.
Nick's love of flying was severely tested when he was 24, during an aerobatics flight with his father.
And it was a beautiful March day. My father called me up and said, look, let's go for a fly, practicing for an air display. Quite an old aircraft, 1942 Harvard. We took off, and during the practice display, something went wrong. We ended up crashing. My father died. I remember being in quite a lot of pain. This leg was snapped and back behind me. This one was dislocated out there. This arm was snapped off in this direction. I mean, he's only 49 years old when he died. Obviously hasn't had stopped me wanting to fly, but it's obviously had a very negative impact on the rest of the family, which is a whole other matter.
Yeah, so this is our dad. We always love this photo because it sort of encapsulates his enjoyment. Just come back from an air display in his kit. I think for our father, adventure was pretty important. He had that passion to go and do something, and I think we got a part of that.
So do you remember this trip up here? Giles was probably 16 at the time, or 15. I'd be 17 or 18, and off you'd go. Huge adventures in Eastern Europe, in northern Spain and elsewhere, and so you'll land and you'll literally be sleeping under the wing of the airplane.
Oh, it was just such fun, it really was.
Following the death of their father, Nick and Giles made a pact never to fly in the same plane, for the sake of their families and mother, Karen.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Oh, nice to see you.
Come on in.
Two boys together.
Yeah, lucky you, lucky you.
2 years ago, Giles also had a crash, flying his own plane.
And I remember saying to you, Giles had a flying accident. And I had to repeat it 5 or 6 times for you to comprehend what I was saying. You couldn't.
I could not comprehend. They say lightning doesn't strike twice. And, you know, how could it possibly happen again?
I miss my husband every day of my life. I see my sons taking over from him in everything they do and think and believe in.
What goes through
well,
your mind?
My immediate feeling is fear for you, for myself as well. The fact, you know, that you both are here, and I couldn't bear the thought of losing either of you.
While Nick continues to fly, since his crash, Giles has not piloted a plane.
Would a little part of you be relieved if Giles didn't go up again?
Yes, of course. I so secretly, I hope he doesn't.
Altitude 7 Tango Mike to altitude 6000.
Speak the Luton QH now 1021.
53 Juliet Delta, A320 stand 1, information November 1031, clearance to Bordeaux, please.
44 Bravo, continue press.
The radar screens at NATS can show anything from single-engine light aircraft to 150-ton cargo planes. Covering an area of 1 million square kilometres, the British skies are a feast for plane spotters. Outside the wire at RAF Coningsby lies the Mound, a mecca for military plane enthusiasts like Liam and his mum Caroline.
This is a good one because you're high up to start with, so you don't need to bring your ladders to here. If I was going to be a pilot, I'd rather be a pilot of something like a Typhoon.
You'd be too wimpy.
I'd be too wimpy?
Yeah, you'd pass out on takeoff.
No, I wouldn't. No.
I don't think you could shoot someone down.
I'd be the commercial pilot. I'd be a nice steady Eddie
Yeah.
airline pilot.
There's not many people my age that think this is a good thing to do. Like when I tell my mates that I go out, stand in a field for hours on end waiting for a certain plane to fly by, they think I'm crazy.
Has any of them ever said, can I come with you?
No. I don't think they would want to.
No.
They must be very skilled. They must be willing to do whatever, because they never know if they're going to get out of the cockpit, even if they're just going on a normal flight, because anything could go wrong. It's just like a car. A car could easily just break down, but you're on the road. But if it breaks down in the sky, you're done for.
Less than 100 British pilots are qualified to fly a Typhoon. RAF Coningsby is home to 29 Squadron, where the next generation of Typhoon pilots are being trained.
This is an amazingly clean aircraft, isn't it? I'm going to say, they're not all like this here, right? You're right.
For a lot of the guys, this is why they join the Air Force. It's like driving a Bugatti, having driven a Ford Fiesta. It's that kind of difference in power, and having that power at their fingertips is something they're going to find quite exciting.
It costs £8 million to train each Typhoon pilot.
It's quite high up. Yeah, you get used to this.
29-year-old Flight Lieutenant Simon has already spent 6 years becoming a fighter pilot. To fly a Typhoon requires another 6 months of intensive training.
Quite excited about the first flight, really, so hopefully in a few weeks. And watch me fall off. I think I went through different phases. I had some weird hobbies when I was younger. I was into sort of bird watching when I was really young, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just go into something to do with that. No one else in my family is from a military background. Well, I think it's quite impressive what I get up to. Several months down the line, I could be launched to try and protect the sovereign airspace that we have, and it's quite daunting. It'll be a relief to get to the front line and actually use my training.
One of Simon's first tests is on the centrifuge, which mimics the intense gravitational pull experienced flying a Typhoon at high speed.
So, welcome. You kind of need to prove to us that you can do 9G. People's G tolerance varies from day to day, and there are certain scenarios where you're much more at risk.
With a top speed of over 1,200 miles per hour, a Typhoon can travel from London to Birmingham in just 6 minutes. It creates huge G-force. At 9G, the pilot's body becomes 9 times heavier than normal.
It's quite disorientating, but we do have some sick bags in the door, just in case. G-lock is G-induced loss of consciousness. There's a risk of crashing. G-lock occurs when there's not enough blood in the brain, and so what we're teaching them on the centrifuge are the essential manoeuvres to stop that happening, that they need to learn and to practice. And then a quick breath, as he starts. 1 strain, 2 strains, and then switch, slow, deep breathing. The most tricky thing of all is to decide who's going to go first.
Stand by, 5G, 15 seconds.
That's the sound of air coming out the side of his mask, which sounds like he's had a curry the night before.
That was very squeaky.
His eyebrows are getting really close together. And that's the sign of someone having a great time. So I think it comes with inflatable socks, which is it's basically just to reduce some of the pain that can be experienced at higher G levels. Because the Typhoon is quite powerful, you kind of have to not pass out. So
You nervous?
That's suppose a little bit apprehensive.
Today is the first time Simon's experienced 9G.
That's it, otherwise I'll talk to you from the centre.
Any last words?
OK, stand by for the first one then. 5G coming up, so a little bit of leg squeezing is probably all you'll need. Oh, I can see you're really enjoying yourself.
For an untrained civilian, 5G is at the outer limit of endurance.
Right, you ready for 9?
Me.
Oh, I will. Right, ready, 9G, 15 seconds, please.
Stand by, 9G, 15 seconds.
At 9G, Simon's anti-G suit is squeezing him hard. That and his exercises are stopping the blood draining from his brain.
Just breathe normally there if you can now. OK, how was that? Any ground?
No, not at all. It's, yeah, uncomfortable. But...
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, but actually in terms of keeping your vision clear, it seems to work well with you.
Cool, thanks.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. The kit is fantastic. You know, you can feel your feet being squeezed. Pleased with that.
Or you can hear these little screams in the background. You don't quite know if it's laughter or sheer terror. But this is my daughter a year or two ago. And my daughter's at this beautiful age when there's no fear, just utter emotion coming out. And you turn around occasionally and you just see this wide grin and she's going, more. But it just, it makes me laugh when I see it. When I went flying for the first time, it was much the same age. We'd be in the back of an aircraft, off to go and do an air show with my father. It's a sort of a full circle of life. You'd be able to do it with your own children.
What's lovely bit up here is you just see how actually stunning the British countryside is.
Nick is on his way to his brother Giles's hangar, where Giles is restoring his plane that was destroyed when he crashed.
Last thing I was holding before the crash. Trying to pump that engine. It's an emotional thing. The plane almost killed myself, but it's something where, you know, I loved it so much beforehand, and it's such a beautiful old lady, and it wasn't her fault. Come and see it.
How are you, man? You well?
Very cool. Beautifully done, isn't it?
Beautifully done.
Despite carefully rebuilding his plane, Giles has promised his family he won't fly again.
I think that's the difference is when you're a 24 or 5-year-old, whatever, and
compared to
being here. When you think you're gonna kill yourself, and you think about your family and your kids and leaving your little ones,
changes everything.
Changes a lot.
What I miss, you know, the camaraderie of flying together as a team, and it was a real brotherly connection. But, you know, he's got to feel happy with it, and I completely respect, you know, the reason he doesn't want to do it.
Eight, 6, uniform. Yes, you can have level 160.
Okay, limited at 2,000 feet, speed of 180.
Of the daily threats to the safety of our skies, none is more disruptive than bad weather. When the skies are at their most dangerous,
it's going to be really rough and bumpy. It's not pleasant for anybody.
only a few pilots take to the air. In Humberside, one of the crews of Her Majesty's Coast Guard Search and Rescue are beginning a 24-hour shift.
You nicking my dinner?
Is this your dinner, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
After 10 years in the RAF, Kate Willoughby recently joined the crew as winchman.
Yeah, that was in Basra.
Are there any other female winchmen?
No, there were two in the Air Force, but now I believe I'm the only one. That's it, just me. Just me.
No one else is stupid enough.
And you don't mind being called a winchman?
No, to me it's a job title. It's like when I was in the Air Force, crewman. It's just a job title. However, I do get called winch wench, which I don't mind.
I'm the winch operator. My primary duty is to ensure the winchmen get down safely. But they get all the medals.
I don't know about that.
We never get any. The unsung heroes,
Oh.
the winch operators.
It's coming in, isn't it? 6 till 9, 300 foot broken at 100, so hands.
A bad weather front has come in, and with it an emergency call.
They got mountain rescue team on scene with Scarborough MR.
Scarborough Mountain Rescue are with an injured cyclist in the North Yorkshire moors. The quickest way to get him to hospital is by air.
Four minutes to run.
There is some low cloud.
Yes, there is, isn't there? Yep.
Might be a case of getting in and doing our best. This is where it starts getting interesting.
The injured cyclist is in the woods, which are covered in thick cloud.
It's the last half mile is the hardest part of it. Yeah. It's sod's law that the bloody forest is on the top of the hill. Just to blow through. Just needed to blow through. Yeah, exactly. But it's not quite there yet.
If the helicopter can't get through, it'll be up to Mountain Rescue to move the casualty somewhere they can land safely.
The most challenging thing is knowing when to stop, because we can go out in such horrible conditions and you always know that someone's in trouble. It's knowing when to say, actually, this is, we're putting our lives at risk and the aircraft at risk.
We're so close.
You know, as soon as you say we've got to stop, then potentially someone's coming to more harm.
Yeah, look at that. That's about as bad as it gets at the moment over the top of the casualty.
As the pilot struggles with poor visibility, Mountain Rescue call. They've managed to move the cyclist away from the cloud.
And I'll land to the right of the all-weather pitch.
This time the rescue ends with an easy pickup, but that's not always the case in bad weather.
Flying in hill fog or cloud in the mountains with a bit of wind is interesting. Just annoyed that the weather didn't clear, because if the weather had cleared we would have been in and out like Flynn, but that was hard work. There we go. Time for a wheelie now.
Piloting a supersonic fighter jet is unlike any other form of flying. And if things go wrong, pilots must be prepared. They're trained for worst-case scenarios, like ejecting over water.
No. No.
And in the precision needed to refuel in mid-air.
Just look at the backwards now. And just drop back so that you are pretty much in line. That's it. Nicely done. Nice job.
Basically, we have an understanding and we know what to do in situations, bad situations when they occur, and use our initiative to try and stay alive, essentially.
Today, Simon and the other trainees will undertake the next stage in Typhoon training, the altitude chamber.
Just it feels comfortable to yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in the Air Force 6 years now, and I've worked pretty hard for those 6 years, so I just need to keep the hard work going to eventually get there to the front line.
Good morning, sirs. Welcome to the chamber and to your high-level chamber run. I'm Flight Sergeant Ian Evans. I'll be running part of your chamber along with Corporal Carter.
In the chamber, they will be subject to rapid air decompression, mimicking the change in air pressure when a plane falls rapidly through the sky.
When you're inside the chamber, you'll be referred to by a number rather than your name. As you can imagine, once you've got your helmets on, it's difficult to distinguish. You find the number once you're seated over your right-hand shoulder.
Part of the aircrew training is experiential for them, so we like them to be prepared for emergencies that they might come across in their flying. Cabin pressure can expose them to reduced amounts of available oxygen, resulting in severe symptoms which may incapacitate them, and at very high altitudes, forced oxygen breathing, which is what they're here to experience in the chamber this morning. Any questions for me? If all you need to do is sort of shake your head if you have no questions, otherwise Tony might be coming and let me know. So student number 5, any questions? Student number 6. Pause close, please. Check 25,000 feet. So would all students please indicate with a clear thumbs up that you're comfortable and ready to proceed with further training? That's 4 thumbs. 4 thumbs, rest your thumbs. Students, knees together and adopt eye contact with the medical officer opposite you. Students, will all students please indicate with a clear thumbs up that you're ready for rapid decompression? 4 thumbs, rest your thumbs. Disable height hold. Height hold disabled. Students, stand by on your toggles. Stand by for rapid decompression in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Eye contact number 6. Eye contact number 6. Eye contact. Slow the rate and depth of your breathing. In for 4, out for 4. Good. Slow your rate and depth of breathing. Number 5. In for 5. Slow the rate and depth of your breathing. Number 5. Slow your breathing. There is a level of fitness, it's not for everyone. Specifically, during the rapid decompression, we're looking for any problems that they might have with expanding gases. They may well feel like breaking wind and burping. 20 seconds. Rub your tummy if you need to. Are you all right, number 5? Thumbs indication from number 5. Give me a thumbs up, number 5. Good, rest your thumb. And the others give me a thumbs up if you're tolerably comfortable. Good. Also, there's the psychological challenge of being enclosed in space, which can provoke a feeling of claustrophobia in some susceptible individuals. Okay, rub your tummy, number 5, if you've got some gut gas. The chamber has begun its descent. Any bubbles of gas in your guts will be getting smaller. Well done, guys. 38,000 feet. Check 38,000 feet, call 5. Copy 5. If number 5, if you do feel lightheaded at any time, right, just pop your head on the lap of number 6, who I'm sure will be. Good.
When you're going through these sort of worst case scenario training things, do you ever stop and sort of contemplate the dangers of?
Yeah, I think obviously they're in the back of your mind every time you go flying. But I think if you start dwelling on things like that, then you're just not going to concentrate on getting essentially your job done.
If your job continues the way it should go, you potentially have to shoot somebody down. Have you ever thought about that?
I don't know. It's I don't know how to answer that question. It's I know at some point I'll probably be. You could be in that scenario. You hope you're not, but yeah. I would be the one pulling the trigger, but you've got to trust that the right decision has been made.
Oh, look at that! I like it.
Across the base, 4 pilots are leaving for a training exercise in the Middle East.
Well, the Middle East provides us, particularly at this time of year, with some fantastic airspace. It's the weather's predictable.
It's not much standing still, is it?
There is a. I haven't had a winter in UK for the last 3 years, so I can't complain.
Yeah, yeah, it's non-stop. Just check that he's got some pee bags. It's a long way.
5 hours today, they'll be sitting in that very small cockpit, but they'll have the most beautiful view straight out the window. What a great day to do it. I've been on several squadrons of frontline pilot. on operational missions over Bosnia during the Balkan crisis and over Libya. For me, being a frontline fighter pilot is, from a purely professional military pilot point of view, it's the pinnacle of your career.
Maintain that speed, descend, flight level 150, level of being a clipping. November 97, Romeo November, turn right heading 325 degrees.
Shell 2 on Victor, mate, heading 155.
In the southeast, all major airports are shrouded in thick fog.
It's going to be a difficult day for a lot of air travellers around the country today with major disruption.
Delta Tango Alpha, contact Birmingham approach on 118.050.
You can't run a full schedule when there's fog. Not because the aircraft can't land, they can land perfectly normally. The aircraft can land itself, they can do an auto land. It's when they get on the ground that everything slows down. You're normally controlled by the visual guys in the tower and they're looking out and they can see everything. They don't have that luxury.
When there's ground fog, each plane must move further away from the runway before another can land. And with visibility less than 100 metres, nothing's moving fast.
Shamrock 158, descend flight level 100.
So Golf Juliet Foxtrot Juliet Charlie, remain outside.
In the air, planes are circling in stacks above the airport. Heathrow normally lands 40 planes an hour. Today, that's down to 27.
It doesn't take long before pilots start looking and seeing what fuel reserves they've got left and whether or not they need to divert. If we have, say, 30 aircraft from Heathrow who want to divert, we then add 20 aeroplanes from Gatwick and 20 aeroplanes from Stansted and Luton. All of a sudden, we've got 70 aircraft in the sky that need to divert, and there aren't really any airfields for them to go to because everywhere's covered in fog. We're balanced on a knife edge.
Air traffic controllers have to land all planes already airborne. But Brian can reduce the number of new planes heading for the stacks by lowering the flow rate, the number of planes allowed to enter British airspace.
I think hit it hard and short now, get it under control, and then change back to a sensible rate.
So 18 until 1300, and the problem is this is going to just crucify them.
Ryanair 643 Tango, route to Redford, contact London 133.940.
I want to go up a bit. I want to go 20. Let's go 20. My risk. 20 until 13:30. Let's see what that does. I'm having palpitations. Right, Heathrow, with immediate effect, 20 until 13:30.
Brian's decision to cut the number of planes allowed to enter Heathrow's airspace to 20 an hour will cause the delay or cancellation of 40 domestic and European flights.
So to try and get it back under control, we've had to hit it hard, but for a short period of time. The disruption it's going to cause, it's a nightmare for the airlines, but it's a nightmare in here. Tell them what's happening.
Right, there we go.
Head injuries, spine injuries, multiple broken bones.
In Lincolnshire, another emergency call has come in for search and rescue.
111 miles.
A female hiker is in trouble on a mountain in the Lake District.
She's fallen approximately 40 metres. We've been told she's got head injuries, spinal injuries, and multiple broken bones.
Okay, let's keep going down. I hope the weather improves.
Mountain rescue are on scene on the ground, but can't move the casualty.
Well, this weather wasn't in the script. Lovely. Well, this is pants. Different. It's like this, we're not going to get anywhere near it. We're not going to get anywhere near it, no.
However, the guys are working quite hard to try and get us in there. Until we get to the actual area, we won't be able to assess anything. From the sounds of it, it will probably be a winching job because that area doesn't adhere itself to actually landing on.
But if it starts getting silly, like hover taxiing up the side of the hill, then we're going to have to reassess. It's just all going to be a bit much. It depends on interest. Sheet sounds pretty bad.
With visibility getting worse, the helicopter is forced to fly under the fog, just above the tree line.
Altitude. This is hard work. Rob, take me out. I'm not coming out. Kate?
Yep.
Can you tell RCC that at this time we're unable to get into the hill and we're going to try and route to Humberside for pickup?
Yeah.
We can't be grovelling into that. It just gets silly.
With conditions too severe for the helicopter to get to the casualty, it's up to Mountain Rescue to move them somewhere it's safe to land. At Nats, fog is still causing havoc with the plane schedules.
Can you pin them down? I want a fog forecast colour as per that.
Okay.
And then we'll make a decision on that.
Delaying flights around the world has reduced the amount of air traffic, but the effect will take several hours to ripple through to the stacks above Heathrow.
So we're still going to get 26 aircraft arrive in this hour where we've only requested 20. So when we're landing more than we're getting, that's obviously when the delay will start to come down quite dramatically, and it's at that point that we start to turn the tap on again and bring aeroplanes in.
Just have to remain clear and 121025.
He is on the heading of 110 now, A-firm. 7 Victor Golf, turn left onto 145 degrees, report heading and speed to London.
We are coming out of low vis and we will not go back in there until 2100. The fog is just cleared. The tower controllers can see pretty much the whole length of the runway now, so I've just agreed to up the rate to 38 arrivals, which is getting somewhere near normality.
Delta Tango Alpha, roger, maintain the heading.
With visibility returning to normal, the team can increase the flow rate. But Heathrow has had to cancel 180 flights in one day.
That has a huge impact. If this was the only flight that you were going on for your yearly holiday and it gets cancelled, the pain for you personally is quite big. And so we don't make these decisions lightly. We take them with the big strap line of safety. We have to maintain the integrity of the airspace.
Right, fly 36 Papa, roger.
In the Lake District, the mountain rescue team on the ground have contacted the helicopter.
Oh, that's not good. She's got a broken femur as well. Yeah, she needs to get to hospital sharpish. With a broken femur,
It's more serious, yeah.
time critical because she could potentially lose a hell of a lot of blood into that.
The hiker is deteriorating fast and can't be moved.
Means that she may not make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to die if we don't get her. Yeah. With plan B time. It's hover taxiing through the mist time. Get right hand side on.
The only option is for the helicopter crew to try to reach her through the fog.
Is everyone up for this? Yeah. She's going to die if we don't give it a go. Yep. Yeah.
The head injury sounds significant.
It sounds pretty good. So Robin, we'll give this a go.
Visibility is now less than 10 meters.
Okay, you're still tracking nicely. About 400 meters to go. Ground speed of 1.
Okay, it's getting steeper as well. So.
Yeah, it's getting steeper. And it'll continue to get steeper.
Winch operator Paul must make sure the tail and blades don't hit the granite rock face.
Got a crack coming in and some trees, visual.
Yeah, they can hear us at the moment, obviously. 200 meters to go.
This piece is the tree down by the tail. Okay, clear there, move right.
Okay, they've got about half a dozen personnel spread out below the casualty, so we just need to be aware.
We'll stop when we see someone. We'll help him at the time. Help us to see him though, won't it? It would be nice for a person to appear at this point, yeah.
About 80 meters perhaps to go.
Visual, one person, 3 o'clock, yellow helmet. Range. 20 units. Okay.
Got the rock face in front of you there, Pete.
Happy.
Happy with the clearances?
Yeah, happy with the
Yeah, it looks like she's on a stretcher.
There is obviously cliff right in front of us, Pete.
Yeah, happy. Well, this could be easier.
The less you know what's in front of you, the better, I think.
Thanks for that.
It was very difficult to see. We were even struggling to see the guys on the ground themselves. You're going to go down there in a minute. It's nerve-wracking.
Rock and roll. Check him a winchman.
I'm stood in the doorway thinking, I don't really want to do this. I'm doing this because that person down there needs me to do this. I'm not doing it because I want to.
Right, he's got a bit of winch. Got a bit of winch. Winch it out. Right. One. Can't get you any closer than that, Kate.
Kate can't reach the mountain, so Paul has to try to swing her in.
Steady. Steady. On the ground. Steady. Quick as you can, Kate. Steady.
We're in as close as you'd want to get. Any closer, and it doesn't allow for those little bits of wobbling around that you'll get. And once we got into that crevice, we got recirculating air, and it's hard to just hold a nice hover. As unpleasant as it gets.
Steady. On the hook. It's going to be a bit of a swing, Kate. Winching in. Oh, she's conscious. That's good. Steady. Steady. Pilot.
Hoist pilot.
Winch out.
Winch out. Stop.
Okay, let's go.
With a casualty on board, the crew need to inch back down the mountain.
What height are we at?
1,500 feet. Got a long way till we come to the ground. Can't see much in front at the moment. 1,200 feet.
Are we there yet?
No.
The sort of jobs I'd rather read about than actually do. Yeah.
I can see almost at the bottom of the valley now.
That's cool.
Moving away from the hill.
Oh, that's what we wanted.
After half an hour, the crew are finally free of the cloud and can head for the hospital.
What injuries? Okay.
She does still have a radial. Not particularly strong.
Okay. Tip to tail clear. 3, 2, 1. I've only got 2 days off after this one.
You've earned it.
I've so hit my old mucker.
Then let yourself have some trifle when we get back.
I might have some trifle. I think I've burnt enough calories. I've certainly sweated myself since this. It wasn't hard enough, so I'm glad it got dark towards the end. If every job was like this, I don't think I'd be doing such a rescue. I'll buy that for £1.
We were not in a good place. The tips of the rotor blades were as close as I even want them to be. So we couldn't move any closer.
How close were we to the rocks? Meters?
Feet. The blade tips were feet from the rocks.
How do you feel now?
Relieved to be back. It's okay, it's only another 16 hours on shift.
We got her to hospital. I'm happy, and we got her in a state that the guys could immediately start work on her. So yeah, I'm happy. That was good.
plan is to get to Isle of Wight, land a lovely lair called Sandown, and hopefully grab a couple of hours on the beach. Last of the British summer, I think.
Can't wait.
You're not a bit nervous getting up in a big plane like that?
Well, no, not at all. I'm quite used to it. I'm quite used to it. Yeah, it's really fun.
12:36, gents, welcome. The aim of this clearly is it's the first time you're going to fly solo in Typhoon. Enjoy it, but bring it back safely. So that's the main objective for today, really. And yeah, if you get the chance, look out the window and actually go, wow, this is pretty awesome, and make sure you actually enjoy the sortie as well.
After 4 supervised training flights, Simon is ready for his first solo sortie.
It's the first day you sort of join the RAF and you look at the frontline jets out there and you think, you know, one day, you know, hopefully I'll be flying that myself. And this is kind of, you know, all that training has sort of led up to kind of this moment. I think it's the whole thing, because there's no one in the back seat to back up your decision making. It's all about making sure that you're making those important airmanship decisions.
We call it the Typhoon smile. You climb skyward like a homesick angel, can do anything, absolutely anything. It is ungodly how much power this thing's got.
I will get up there again, but I have to give my family some time to get used to it. And seeing my brother take off on a beautiful day, and naturally I miss it terribly. And a beautiful day like today, all you want to be doing is playing with the clouds.
I think one of the worst things you can do in life is not take any risks. For me, adventures is everything.
Oh, that was fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Well done. Cheers. Thanks, sir. Well done.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
How's it? All right? Yeah.